Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Josie Dunham, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 2 Joanne Davey. We warmly welcome the family of Private David Andrew Allison, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors and students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, Brisbania Public School and Kin Cross Wallarai Preparatory School, Orange. From the Northern Territory, Good Shepherd Lutheran School. And from Victoria, Plenty Valley Christian College. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Girls and boys, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's first World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land that they loved, and here we guard the record, which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the name of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private David Allison. David Andrew Allison was born on the 3rd of December 1872 in Murphys Creek, Queensland, to Samuel and Elizabeth Allison. He went to the local school before training as a plumber and at some point moved to Western Australia. In 1896, Allison married Elizabeth Waterhouse in Busselton, Western Australia, and the couple went on to have 4 children. In 1901, he became a policeman in the Western Australian Police Force, and 2 years later, while working as a constable, was stabbed while trying to protect a young woman in Perth. He went on to work in Boulder and Fremantle, but in 1909 left the police force after fracturing his leg. He received compensation with which he bought a team of horses and began working as a teamster. In early 1915, his eldest son, David Samuel Allison, tried to enlist in the Australian Imperial Force. He was not quite 18 years old and was discharged shortly afterwards, but tried again and successfully enlisted in December of that year. He was posted to the trench mortars and went on to serve on the Western Front. In August 1916, David Allison Sr. followed his son by enlisting in the Australian Imperial Force. His acceptance was deferred because he had a shortened left leg from his old fracture, but he was eventually accepted and sent overseas with a field ambulance, later transferring to the 11th Battalion. Private Allison underwent an extended period of training in England. During this time, his fractured leg caused him significant problems and he was put on light duties. He was found to be unfit for active service, but was able to continue serving in training camps in England. Even so, he continued to struggle, and towards the end of 1917, he fell seriously ill. On the 16th of December 1917, David Andrew Allison died in hospital in Weymouth, England, of pleurisy and heart complications. He was 45 years old. His son served until 1918, surviving serious gunshot wounds in 1917, and was repatriated to Australia for family reasons. David Andrew Allison's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, and more than 60,000 Australians who died during the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private David Andrew Allison, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning we will remember them. lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man, lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and good evening.